imagine nothing finer than to be playing with you, with my family. Only all the parts were taken. And to sit there silently like our mother was out of the question for me. As a result, I probably really did wither away into the person as you'd seen me ever since I was small. Into the person who in our district is called single and displeased. Someone who lets others feel that she isn't loved. It's true though, no one has ever loved me, not even my mother. From the moment of my birth, she only pitied me. But what use is pity to me? I spit on it. Pity and your laughter chased me out of the house as soon as I left school. And until the war, I lived as one for whom there was no place in this house. And in the middle of the peace which you others found so heavenly, my thoughts had already long been in the war. In the war, so I thought, I will at last find my place. In the war, I will be loved. In our house, for sure, from one day to the next, there were 3 places free. And I was made welcome, lovingly as it seemed to me, even by you, sister. But now, nowhere anymore. So perhaps it is true then, the other saying from our district, only he finds a place who brings it with him. Did I never embody having a place? It wasn't you then who didn't find a place for me, rather that I was already born placeless, and hence wanted nothing less than war. World war or family war. Pity, mother. Did you not tell me that in our language here, womb and pity have the same root? At this point in my journey through time, or whatever it is, the youngest of the sons, whom I addressed as Benjamin, the almost child, has at last made his presence felt as an individual. Can someone explain to me why pears sometimes have the shape of an apple, but an apple never has the shape of a pear? And how can I tell whether there's a worm in the apple? And how is it that after 999 yellow corn cobs, there's suddenly a black one? And why do all the male members of our family, despite the 9 shoehorns in the house of shoes that are always trodden down at the back? And who invented the shoehorn? And why does the saucer stick to the cup every time I drink a mouthful of coffee? And why am I so disgusted by milk skin in my mouth and by milk altogether? Why all this disgust in me? This constant disgust? A family sickness or just my own? Disgust at the first light of dawn? Disgust at the cowering cat? Disgust at my own name? At having any name at all? A general pause. Then a song. Strange that the verses of my young mother's song have stuck in my mind, word for word. The year 1936 was a happy year. It was a year of sun and snow. Sun and snow. And that really was the whole story. Nothing more. You came home, brother, and brought the other land home to me. Taught me pride in our language. Sun and snow. Made an estate out of our cottage and a farmstead out of our chicken shed run. And out of house and farm, a property. Conceived of house and farm and field as one thing, as a foundation for us all. Sun and snow. The year 1936 was a happy year. It was a year of sun and snow. But that's not the whole story. A low sun has cast its beams from the side or from wherever, across the heath and lit up the faces of the people of my clan. While they here and there almost high-spiritedly, as it seemed to me, set out for home. And so my forebears danced away and I remained behind quite alone. I followed them for a couple of steps, I think, and then paused for my part and then cried out, "But stay! Let's stay together. Stand by me." And what do I, now advanced in years, see there? My blossom young 1936 mother was the only one to come back and hurls the following at my head. "Stop your shouting, of course we'll stay with you. What are you thinking of? Don't you know that we'll stay with you till the end of your days? Or perhaps even beyond them, you great dope." That's how we're all made. And that's how it will be played here. But you, son, did you stay with us? Will you stay with us? Did you not always want to discard us? Get rid of us? Then stay with us. Haven't you noticed that you're unable to do anything else, you orchard fugitive? That we, whether you like it or not, guide you. Stay with us, son, because that's the way you're made. And so are your fruits. So your play. So it's up to you if you want to play. In any case, you have no choice. It's your only play. Always has been your only blueprint. Stay with us, son. With that, she disappeared. No one but me on the heath. The light changed and a breeze came up. No storm, just strong enough to set the 99 apples in the tree in motion a little. I sat down on the bench and I think I sat there for a while. You forebears, you're giving me quite a hard time. When will you finally leave me in peace? How is it that you keep putting in an appearance and not only in dreams, which unlike most other dreams are more real than the current date, but also in the course of the day? At the supermarket checkout or wherever an elderly woman in a headscarf is protractedly fumbling for the small change in her purse. And grandmother of mine is perhaps even more endlessly fishing around in her money sock or stocking. On the bus or wherever a not so elderly man is sitting in front of me, wearing a hat which is a little too small for his head. And even if he doesn't take off his hat at all, my grandfather is taking off his hat. And I see clearly in front of me, as never in his own day, his hair sticky with sweat, the always pale forehead with the indentation made by the sweatband, the always stand back of the neck, skin patterned by a very delicate network of nothing but pentagons and hexagons. No four-sided figure to be seen there. Curious. No rectangle at all. curious. In an Irish pub or wherever, the reproduction of a painting of a mass in a farmer's cottage is gathered every one of our clan, as I'd never seen them together in their day. Then again, not there when one looked more closely. Curious again. You give me a bad conscience, people, from time to time at least. Bad conscience, why? Because of my ingratitude. On the other hand, if you don't put in an appearance, neither during the day nor in a dream, I get my bad conscience again. However, like this, what on earth have I done wrong so that you don't appear to me anymore? My play, mother. Without you, no play. Who plays with me? Come again. Give me something to do. Make demands of me. Draw it out of me. Don't leave me alone in my false peace. As desired, on cue, my mother walks onto the scene, the heats, the step. She's no longer the lively young girl from the country as in the previous scenes. She seems dressed to kill, as one used to say. She's wearing a hairdo, city style, and not wound in a plate as only a little while ago. And matching dress to kill is this foxy around her neck. The fox head with its glass eyes at the back. The eyes sparkling when she turns full circle. Or am I mistaken? And the young woman there is not at all the mother of me. Anyway, I hesitate, but then I ask, who are you? And the unknown woman replies, you get one guess, Granddad. My mother. By what did you recognize me? By your voice, mother, without accent and without dialect. Perhaps that comes from playing in the theatre group back then, before the Germans marched in. Mother, I would have recognized you without your voice, whatever the disguise. How are you, my son? I can't complain. Even when you were small, you could never complain. Do you still watch so much football on TV? And when you're alone, do you still shout out loud enough to be heard throughout the house? I don't watch whole games anymore, not even the finals. At most one half, usually the second. And yes, I still shout when I watch, except no longer in the house, but in a cafe somewhere, with strangers. They're good for me. That does me good. And I still stick with the losers. What are you reading at the moment? Still all those hooded crows where the book falls out of one's hand because nothing but disaster croaks in them, for which I get more than enough in my own life. For a long time I've been reading nothing but history books. Since when has my son been interested in world history? Well, I read about the history of the district and of the people here, as far as one can follow it back. But tell me, which year since the birth of Christ am I supposed to imagine now? What else has happened to our family in the meantime? Well, let's say it's the year 1942. And again, late summer, 6 years ago, or early autumn. The corn gathered in, the cattle still in the meadow. World War for 3 years now, but hardly making itself felt to the district here. At most in the absence of the young men of the locality. Our Benjamin is a common soldier in the east somewhere. But he's not been allowed on the front lines yet. Not yet. So far, the war has been good to Benjamin. He has grown up thanks to the war. And above all, he doesn't feel disgust at anything anymore. Rice pudding, one of my favorite foods. A comrade's detached earlobes, good enough to kiss. The webbing between the fingers of another comrade, the sky shines through it. The sergeant major's bark, a call to open her mouth. The heaps of excrement in the latrine pit remind me of the funny curly tails of the piglets in the pigsty at home. I enjoy singing now too. I even lead the singing in our platoon. Discovered my voice while requisitioning for food in the Russian villages. The war has made a tenor of me. And just once you should see a little brother go on with 2 left feet dancing. Out here in the field I dance like crazy with the girls. Sonia, Natasha, Asya. There you have it. The war has made a poet of me. If I could, I would write all my forces' letters to you on white birch bark, on which the lines themselves are already a poem. We're not short of birch trees in Russia, and we've all become slim as birches, marching until everything goes white before one's eyes. White by day, white by night, and again white by day. Marching past the empty lines of the birch bark, past the empty lines of the potato fields, past the empty lines of the cabbage and turnip fields, past the empty lines of the 1,000 empty villages, until with all the empty lines, there's nothing but empty lines. And on and between and behind all the empty lines, no on and between and behind anymore. No world. Will the old, the good days ever come again? Yes, the old, the good. So, greetings to you all from your Tunjala Benjamin. Yes, without the war, we would have never written to each other. Without the war, I would have nothing written by my brothers. Ah, war. Praise be to you, war. Thanks to you, my brother saw something of this world. Sig heil, Herr Obersturm Commandant. Be joyful to have you between us. Well-waxed boots are yours. May I storm to your brown side, and may your ticket home wound not be shot in the foot. Hurry and hold our hand to us. The answer is not long in coming. A voice talks back in best High German. Frau to Mensch, learn German before you do anything else. Your disguise perfect, well done, just like you were brawn. Even your voice, but still your language, it gave you away. Don't make me laugh and don't try to talk yourself out of it by saying that you didn't know the decree here that only German is to be spoken in public. You have the cheek to wallow in your Untermensch gibberish in front of our German speakers. Away with you, so that we native speakers can be by ourselves at last. Why have you stopped imitating the enemy, Mother? For a long time I've been lacking an antagonist in our story, one who stirs things up, causes confusion, or just asks the awkward questions. Who doesn't just open his mouth but his jaws wide and seeks whom he may swallow up. My son, don't worry. Patience. But that was never your strength. The antagonist or the antagonists, they've been taken into account from the start. How do you know that? I don't know. I have a feeling. Something tells me. Something also tells me that they'll probably come from our own stock, from our own ranks, possibly from our own blood. Maybe that on some not so distant day, I myself will be found on the opposite side, or will have lost myself to it, believing in my eternal high spirits and my eternal good cheer, that we are all good for one another, that we all belong together, that basically, war or no war, everything on earth is good. Strange, in all my life, I've never been sad. Hungry, yes. Half frozen, yes. Lost in the woods, yes. Bitten by a dog, yes. Kicked in the ribs by a horse, yes. Stung between the eyes by a hornet and been blind for a whole month, and not just in one eye, yes. But sad, never, ever. It's unnatural, really, isn't it? It's possible that right here and now, I'm on the brink of becoming an enemy. It's enough when I see myself in the mirror, my clothes, my new hairstyle, the mascara, the lipstick. The enemy of the clan, of the tribe, of the people from here. How strange that even this awful thought does not make me sad. The enemy of us all. That's awful. And yet at no moment does it impede my joy in life. So, it's my joy in life which in time of war makes of me an enemy. Don't know. God knows. How surprised I am that I'm not sad. The voice over there, he was no enemy. He was certainly someone very bad, but I don't see him as our antagonist. He's not good for that. He's not worthy of our history. Yes, you heard it right, not worthy. Suddenly my aunt comes running in the dress of a pigmaid and instantly starts attacking my mother. Tearing at hair, dealing blows with a stick, punching, elbowing, tripping up, throwing to the ground. All of it silent. And only then does my aunt begin to speak. That's for you for going out with one of the others. That's for you for smiling at one of them from the outside. While I spend my nights in the straw behind the goat shed, you romp about on the double bed of the Tigger Ward Hotel with your German billy goat from the right. While our parents slave away, alone at home, on the brink of exhaustion, close to despair, because of their 3 sons recruited by force into the Third Reich. You two sit side by side on City Beach, Berlin, and watch your cigarette smoke as it sails away. While our brothers out there in Holland, over there in Norway, over there in Russia, are not just forbidden to speak our language, but also to sing it. You two warble the habanera inside at the table of the officers' mess. And you hum the white elderflower into his earlobe, while he, for his part, dribbles his white lilac time through your rags right onto your skin. How could you just forget who you are? Who we are here, what our places on earth, what we represent? You betrayed us. Worse, you forgot us, beautiful sister. My grandparents have appeared out of the background in country working clothes this time, apron, rubber boots, and so on. They've become distinctly older. My grandfather is holding a letter in each hand, evidently forces post and evidently unopened. The two have been listening in silence, and what they've been hearing appears to be news to them. Accordingly, my grandfather speaks. Is it true what your sister is saying? Is it true you're going out with one of the others? Yes, I'm going out with one of the others. And he is going out with me. What does that mean? I love him. And I think he loves me too. You think, love. No one in this house has ever spoken about love before, and as long as I have any say in this matter, no one ever will. Then to your mother, to your father, I'll just say it another way. And she unbuttons her loose overcoat, a big bulging stomach. Whereupon my grandfather and my aunt take a step backward. Whereupon my grandmother takes a step forward silently. And I have stood up from the bench in the middle of the step like Keith, equally silent. Whereupon my mother beckons me to come close. Did you not always want to see yourself filmed in rewind, my son? As adolescent, as child, as infant, and back even before your birth. Here you have the film. Look in my stomach, it's you. Whereupon I look. Whereupon my mother beckons me to come closer still. Place your hand here. Whereupon I recoil. Whereupon my aunt asks, when did it happen? Whereupon my mother replies, happened in late spring, between lilac and elderflower blossom time, between midnight or 4 o'clock in the morning, in the Tigger word, or wherever we were walking, standing. Love, my fate. Thereupon a pause. And then my grandfather sits down on the bench and also beckons his daughter, pregnant with me, to sit down beside him. He opens one of the letters and gives it to her to read. First she says the name of the sender, Valentin. Strange, the great lady's man is the only one of our brothers who doesn't write anything about a war girlfriend. My dear family, I'm doing splendidly. Where we are, the sun still shines at midnight. My problem is the mosquitoes. They seem to like my blood more than that of my comrades. The polar bears aren't expected until winter, but you know that I'm a born hunter. How boring war is. Above all, boring. Every day the same. No Sunday, no holiday. How many useful things could be done at home which would be of benefit to the country in quite a different way? Coming home, working. How I long for a proper day's work instead of being bored until final victory. Hail to you all. Hail to you, Valentin, son of the Northern Light. And then my grandfather opens the second letter and gives it to my mother to read out. She begins by reading inwardly, but straight away interrupts herself. Strange, it's not Benjamin himself writing. And then one can only hear something like a gasp, a sound like one of those sounds, whether of horror or of repugnance, or also of pleasure and of delight, which was altogether one of the common family characteristics. And so now an entire chorus, grandfather, grandmother, aunt, and even I, unborn, gasp in response to my mother. And then my pregnant mother, she removes her coat and her shoes and throws them this way and that way, far away out of sight. And then she puts up her hair almost ceremoniously as it was in the beginning. And the letter, I don't remember, but perhaps with a gasp I went blind for a moment. What I then see, my farm-maid aunt holding the letter, and what I hear from her, I knew it. Did she then read out the letter? Seems to me only in fragments. To his last breath, showing courage in the face of the enemy, enemy did not suffer for furor and fat land, will always honor his sacrifice. May the enemy's soil lie light. Light. And after that, once again a shared clan or even popular chorus note, and I part of it once more. This time admittedly no longer a gasp, but rather something else, monosyllabic. Between monosyllabic whimpering and howling, unpleasant to hear for years, attuned to mourning, on the verge of embarrassment. But that's how it was with us, and that's how it is. And apart from which our popular chorus fell silent once again. Who was the first to be heard? After the fraction of a minute or of a whole year? My grandfather. And if, as events unfolded so far, he cursed more to himself, now for the first time he curses out loud. May they all be cursed. May Satan take them all. May Germany become nothing and less than nothing in this world. Never again see someone German with his German skull, with his German parting in his hair, with his German bone structure, with his German bicycle clip round his German trouser legs, with his German shoe size for his German feet. Never again hear someone German with his air-splitting speech. May they be torn apart in the air, the Germans, led by bombs from Mars. He took a big step towards his pregnant daughter. Cursed be the little love worm in your love stomach. Cursed be the fruit of your womb. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken. Cursed be the name of the Lord in all eternity. He raised his arm as if to strike her. And I on the bench, did I cower? Did I recoil? I don't remember, but my mother did not budge from the spot, did not bat an eyelash. It was my grandmother who then called her husband to order by placing her arm on his shoulder and saying, "So Benjamin's baptismal candle has become his funeral candle. Let us go home and light it. Besides, the eggs and the hay need to be collected before the polecat sucks them dry. And the bread is still in the oven, it mustn't turn black." Once he was a dwarf in a school play, and for the entire play he just sat there cross-legged and did nothing but sew. He was constantly pricking himself. Afterwards he said that's because mother was watching. His best jacket in the wardrobe in the gallery above the chicken run. She points at me, he should get it after the war one day, when the time comes. And also the confirmation watch. Isn't that right? As a page has been torn from the book of our life. I can't believe that he's dead. God loves to return. The priest said in his last sermon. Is it true? There's a smell of autumn in the air. Do you smell it too? Thereupon my grandfather, you with your eternal conciliation, with your delusion of peace, peace on earth, impossible. Meanwhile, the two sisters, my mother and my aunt, have also started on their way home. And once again, the general departure has a kind of dance about it. A dance, if such a thing exists, of mourning. At the edge of the field, my aunt picks up the long pale overcoat thrown away by my mother, pulls it over her farm mate's clothes and says, "This will be my magic coat. This will make me invisible. In the forests, in our forests, in the mountains, in our mountains, in the snow. I'm going to war. I'm marching to war. I'm somersaulting to war, to mine, to ours." Thereupon my mother, "There's no more happiness left in me. I'll never be happy again." Thereupon my aunt, "Are you sure? You without happiness?" And then they go home or wherever. And once again, I'm left alone on the heath. The wind noticeably stronger than the first time I remained here alone. From the 99 apples, something like a tinkling. When I look over my shoulder, I see my mother's 2 surviving brothers standing close behind me. Both are evidently on home leave. For Gregor, it's not the first day at home. He's wearing civilian clothes and pushing a pram back and forward and holding pruning shears or whatever they are in his other hand. Valentin, by contrast, seems to just have got off the post bus after a long journey by ship and by train. He's still in uniform. Valentin says, "Why do you have the pruning shears with you? Is it already time to prune the trees?" Gregor says, "No. And yet, since I've been on leave, I constantly want to cut something back, thin out, create views, or cut off the willy of the rascal here, hear him bawl." Valentin says, "You say that? You who were always the gentlest of us all?" Gregor says, "I don't want to be the one who's always fair anymore. Not at this time, at least. And I have resolved to be an enemy myself." Valentin says, "What does that mean?" Gregor says, "That I am going to change sides today." "You're going into the forests?" "Yes." "You're ready to kill?" "Yes." "You will shoot at people, you who disappeared into the attic every time a pig was slaughtered?" "Yes, I will do it for my language, our language." "Our language too, dear brother. It doesn't stand a chance. As for me, I made my decision long ago, and my decision is the westward, away from the confinement of the mountains and the stubborn language of the mountains, into the open, become a citizen of the world. What have I learned most from war, apart from chess, is English. That's the language for me, dear brother. Do you realize that resistance, if it wants to be successful, necessarily turns into war? Do you want war? This one, yes. I have always been ready to love my enemies. But the present ones, no. No people in the whole world were more peaceful, more peaceable than we were here. We danced, acted, played, performed peace on earth. And now we must. Yes, we must embody war here. We must. My mother must have appeared onto the scene. She's wearing the farm maid's clothes of her sister, which on her don't look workery at all. And Valentin says, "Did you know that Gregor is not going back to the front? That he wants to head to the forests like Ursula?" And again, unnoticed by the rest of us, another figure must have appeared. There's someone in the half shadow, a woman wearing army coat and leather boots, on her head the very cap with a very 5-pointed star. Valentin says, "The farm maid is commander, the village bumpkin is brigadier." Now her voice becomes loud. "Well observed, brother. And that, the maid who gives the orders, is exactly how it is. But from now on until the end of the war, don't call me by my given name anymore. In the Osvobodilna Fronta, I have a different name. Gregor says, Osvobodilna Fronta, what does that mean? Liberation Front. Don't you understand your own language anymore? Gregor says, sure I do, but only when it expresses what one can see, hear, or smell. When it becomes general, I don't understand it anymore. You have to learn the use of abstract language, Gregor. You will learn that without the abstractions, the struggle lacks cohesion. Without doctrine, no common will. Without literature, no base. Will, woods, and weapons alone are not enough. And so now you too must now take up a name for your struggle. First reveal your own. I thought about it for a long time as to what I could rebaptize myself. In those days I used to love the snow. Now in the mountain forests, less so. And so I was named Snitsina, snowy. And then you name it. It gave me strength. It changed me into someone I secretly always have been. And now you. I don't want a new name anymore, I'm Gregor. So then I will just be your rebaptizer. From now on, you will be called Jonathan, like one of your apple varieties. Following the renaming, Snitsina literally addressed her newly baptized brother in a speech. Now you stand on the good side of history, Comrade Jonathan. In the end, history will prove us right. It's history that decides. History is the highest, the final, the irrevocable judge. We fighters of the forests, we are its vanguards and its heralds. Valentin and my mother are now alone, with me at a distance. My mother says, let us go home now, Valentin. Home to our parents. Since Benjamin is no longer with us, they hardly talk to each other. Valentin says, no, I'm not going home. Because my presence will confront my parents on every day of my leave with the fact that I, their dodgy son, am alive and he, their darling, is dead. And no, I'm not going into the forests because it's dark in the forests. My dark sister lurks there. I'll go to the next village, to Milka with the yellow ribbon in her hair. And then to the next village, to Lena with the white breast. And then to the next one, to Angelica with a mouse in her straw mattress. And then home to the foreign war. And so, brother and sister go off in different directions. In time with so much plain speaking, my tongue has grown heavy. A weariness has come over me. I rest now as if I'm sleeping, and at the same time in anticipation of what happens next. And what happens next? My grandparents approach and wordlessly they sit down on the bench as if I wasn't there at all. And then my grandfather says, and? My grandmother says, nothing. My grandfather says, no forces post from Valentin since last summer. No sign of Gregor, although supposedly he's looking down at us from the mountains up there. And no word from Ursula either. My grandmother says, well, it wouldn't be from her personally. Better no news at all. And my grandfather says, letters at best from our other daughter, that she's still out there in Greater Germany, looking for a royal German to go with her half-German child. My grandmother says, how beautiful her handwriting is. So school was good for something at least. My grandfather says, only from one letter to the next even, fewer words in our own language. My grandmother says. My grandfather says. And again, time passes on the heath. My grandparents on the bench beside me. The wind is blowing, now it seems from all sides, but most forcefully up from below. An upwind as if from the center of the earth. The little trees bent upwards, and from the remaining apples there comes a sound, a rattling and clattering. Out of it I hear my grandfather say, "How long this war is lasting?" In the first winter the people said the end or victory or whatever is imminent. And now it's already the 5th winter, and the final victory is supposedly only a matter of time. But which time? Once again, time passes on the heath. And this time, it's as if not only I am carried away, but also my grandparents. Perhaps that's because of the storm now, but which is only blowing in the furthest background, quietly. In this background, only I see there's a different light than at the front where we are. A clear, sharp light such as only in spring or early spring. Figures repeatedly appear there, perceived only as mere silhouettes, shadowy outlines. No, they're too physically present for that, and what will have happened there is also too solid. So I caught sight of a postman, cycling along with no hands and whistling as he does, the wind with him or against him, whatever. And suddenly, as if struck by lightning, he falls from the bicycle and rolls to the side and remains lying there, while the letters from the postbag whiz through the air. A spring mushroom picker, his basket full of dark morels and pale St. George's mushrooms, collapses just as abruptly, and the mushrooms tumble and roll away from the likewise motionless figure. The same with the ladder man seen earlier, who seems to be on his way back, and he crashes to the ground with the ladder. The same with the pair of chimney sweeps. The same with the trio of anglers. A woman with a tub of water on her head, the same. A woman with a packet of nappies, the same. A couple clearing the storm with a long hazelnut stick, the same. They all tumbled together as if the ground was being pulled away from under their feet. In addition, they were joined by the card dealer, the ball carrier, the holiday walker, and so on. A cook weighed down by onions and potatoes and bottles of wine. A priest in feast day vestments, and so on. A hecatomb of freshly fallen figures will soon have stiffly lain there. Finally, a figure with a giant swastika flag crosses the background. Wherever the figure walks and stands, it's cutting the swastika out of the flag with a giant pair of scissors. The storm gusts through the hole, making the remaining white of the flag flutter heavenwards. He takes a zigzag course there in the background, between all the fallen figures and untouched by all the stones or whatever it is that falls towards him from all the skies at the back. And then bird feathers which flutter after them, and then whole big wings of birds, and then animal skulls. and animal bodies which follow. Time passed again. Storm still. Now someone is making his way against it. To the three of us in the calm foreground. Is it him? Yes, it's Gregor. Resistance named Jonathan. And he's carrying someone in his arms. Is it her? Yes, it's Ursula. Resistance named Snitsina, Snowy One, his sister. She's no longer alive. She's still alive, just a moment longer. Is that deceptive? Stands, sinks down, sits, lies down, dies. From our parents, my grandparents, when did it happen? Jonathan says, only a short time ago. I came too late. She did not turn her gaze away from the torturers. And so the torturers killed her. Had to kill her. Storm passed. Bright light everywhere, as only cast by the mesa. A dove flutters by, and even if it seems to me to be a rather papery dove, it's a dove. A huge banner floats down from the sky and dances over the living and the dead. Peace, freedom, Mir, Shalom, Salam. 1,000 birds sing, including the nightingale in broad daylight. My grandmother calls out to her son as if he's really far away, Jonathan! The latter replies, not Jonathan anymore, mother. The war is over. We have won. I'm Gregor once again. Only Snitsina will remain Snitsina forever. Did she say anything at the end? Yes. She said our father couldn't stand the word love. In our house, no love. But I love you all. And then they go home, or wherever. I, the descendant, alone on the heath, in a light which belongs to no season, without a breath of air. It's Gregor who then approaches. He's no longer in his partisan or something uniform, but in his best clothes, as once in peacetime. Gregor speaks. It's quite dead now, our farm. We're finally deprived of power. I am powerless. And the example of our orchard just makes me realize how much power I did have. What a power! What a loss, the loss of that power. Powerless, helpless. You know, the Germans during the war, they burned our houses and our barns, but at least they left us our fruit trees. And now the liberators from the West, the Tommies and the Charlies, the Limeys and the Georges, they're finishing us off. I then approached my godfather as a messenger, with a badly acted radio announcer's voice. I have to be the bearer of bad tidings of one calamity and then another. But perhaps it's not a calamity at all, but rather the run of events, course of history. The first, the excommunication in the year 1948 declared by Moscow against the new Yugoslavia. And you here, the former forest soldiers, what consequences will it have for you in the land which you continue to see as your land? In the twinkling of an eye, we are a people without representatives. We, the victors. Are we, as a result, finally alone in the land of our birth and childhood? To whom can we turn now? Another year has passed, and in Paris, outside the city, the foreign ministers of the Soviet Union, United States, Great Britain, and France have decided in secret negotiations that the territory of your people is to remain a part of the state of Austria, which treats it as not deserving the title of people. And that's the reward we get for being the only one to fight for the liberation of the country. As was the condition of Declaration of 1943 against Moscow, that Austria be allowed to call itself independent again after the war. A country that doesn't want us, and that is allowed to stand there right in the middle of the continent thanks to us. Course of history, not rather a dragon biting its own tail, and not at all hurting itself in doing so. More years have passed and the country is free. The foreign troops will withdraw. The Red, White, Red book, at the very beginning of which Austria cites the fight of the Slovenians of Carinthia as proof of its liberation struggle in the Second World War. It has done its duty. So now we can go then, finally, or fall silent. From census to census, from bus journey, from tavern evening to tavern evening. A comfort that, to be the heroes in the Red, White, Red book. If you ask me, but no one will ever ask me here, how I have always resisted any notions of the tragic. Tragedies in ancient Greece, if you like, or with the American Indians, but not here with us. Even the word itself is a foreign word in our language, and not just in my father's house. From farm to farm, from field to field, from wayside shrine to wayside shrine, from mountaintop to mountaintop, no mention of it. But this, now, it cries out, it shrieks, it whimpers, it trembles for the word tragedy against our nature, against my heart, against our will. Have mercy on us. Only a miracle can set things right now. But in history, there are no miracles. Sometimes I wish the earlier tyranny back. The devils of those days at least knew they were devils. The devils of today pretend they're angels and are devilish without end. The devilish in the morning, and the devilish in the evening, and the devilish at night. And that's the whole story.